Trump's first year in the White House is being marked by a government-wide shutdown. That's after the Republican-controlled Senate refused to approve a bill to fund the government. Though it has been a rather bumpy 12 months for the U.S. president, RT's Maupin now takes a look at how Trump's tenure has unfolded so far.
When Trump was sworn in a year ago, emotions were running high on all sides.
No Trump, no KKK.
U.S. media described it as a pivotal moment in American history.
You're not having a terrible, terrible dream. Also, you're not dead and you haven't gone to hell.
It will be very bad. Americans and others will now die.
Washington, D.C., the establishment is terrified, and they should be.
They called it the Trump Revolution. Trump promised to completely overhaul U.S. foreign and economic policy. He promised a brave new world that was cheered by his supporters and dreaded by his detractors as a dystopian apocalypse. So a year on, where are we? Well, with all this America First rhetoric, you might have thought that would have meant less interference in other countries. Well, that's not exactly how it played out.
Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike.
We are so proud of our military, and it was another successful event.
We have many options for Venezuela, including a possible military option if necessary.
On the home front, Trump promised a new level of protectionism against Mexico and China. But the USA is increasingly buying more foreign goods and producing less of its own. The trade deficit with Mexico is up by 11%. The trade deficit with China is up by 7%. Unemployment is low, but so are wages. There is record amounts of household debt in the United States right now, and retail stores are closing across the country. Now, here's one thing that didn't change between Trump and previous administrations. During the election, Trump talked about getting along better with Russia, and his detractors called him a Kremlin puppet. But now, 1 year later, things between Washington and Moscow are about the same as they were before. Bad.
The action by the Congress to put these sanctions in place and the way they did, that's the decision they made. They made it in a very overwhelming way. I think the president accepts that.
We may be at an all-time low in terms of relationship with Russia. This is built for a long period of time.
Now, Trump promised to drain the swamp of corruption.
We are going to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C.
But it looks like that swamp is still here and deeper than ever.
Policies stay the same. Our foreign policy is the same. The monetary policy in the Federal Reserve is the same. Spending is the same. Deficits are still rising. So there has not been any significant changes in the direction of our country, which I had been hoping for. Is that he has perpetuated so many of our deeply flawed policies, especially in foreign policy. Foreign policy is a little bit more confusing. I'm very pleased that he's at least made an honest effort and he's reduced the amount of regulations. And I think that's one of the reasons we've had an economic boost. And that is good. And he's made an effort to reduce taxes. That's far from perfect, but lower taxes and less regulation is good. And the marketplace is reflecting that.
Oh, and don't forget about that wall.
We're going to build the wall. We have no choice. We have no choice.
Yeah, how's that going?
We have some wonderful prototypes that have been put up.
Now, despite the president's ambitious timetable for construction, it remains unclear when the wall might actually go up.
On the surface, Donald Trump looks like a president like no other. He's loud, brash, he doesn't care about political correctness. He's even turned Twitter into an official White House channel. But if you look a little bit closer and judge him by his political actions, he's a little bit more the rule than the exception. Maupin, RT, New York.
Trump's presidency so far has also been marked by a string of quirky catchphrases and diplomatic maneuvers, which certainly kept the world and the media guessing what would he be doing next. So here's our take on his tenure throughout the year.
Donald Trump's oath of office means nothing.
This is one of the most radical inaugural speeches we've ever heard.
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you stay categorical?
You are fake news.
Donald Trump's incoherence.
This was all a direct result of the Russian interference.
Potential collusion.
Russian collusion.
U.S. officials are growing increasingly concerned about possible Russian intrusion.
We've just launched 59 missiles heading to Iraq.
Well, you headed to Syria?
Yes, heading toward Syria. We just got back from the Middle East. We just got back to Saudi Arabia.
They have all this protocol. We never know
what is the protocol? Do you have any
idea?
Face-to-face meeting with Putin will likely get the most attention. No meeting will draw more attention.
We are totally prepared for the second option. Totally destroy North Korea. He is a sick puppy.
The North Korean regime is calling President Trump's words a load of nonsense.
Obviously, he's a pretty smart cookie. We wish you a very happy Hanukkah. And right now, I'm thinking about what's going on and the love that's all over Israel and all about Jerusalem.